next guest here is an editor at Vanity Fair magazine, as well as the author of several books, a collection of humor pieces called Your Wildest Dreams Within Reason, 2009's And Here's the Kicker, Conversations with 21 Top Humor Writers on Their Craft, and now a follow-up to that book, Poking a Dead Frog, Conversations with Today's Top Comedy Writers, which was just released yesterday by Penguin Books. I'm delighted that it brings to the show Mr. Mike Sachs. Take a seat, Mike.
Summer Breeze by Seals and Crofts. I love that song. These guys are dynamite.
They know the guest pretty well.
They must have known I lost my virginity to that song.
2 years ago.
Comedy writer. Deep research on you, Mike. Now, you were the first guest I booked for this particular show, and in convincing other people to shut up to go on us on a Wednesday night, I would mention that I had you booked on the show, and the response was overwhelming. Let's put it that way. Even people couldn't do it, like Ben Schwartz, the actor Ben Schwartz. He responded and said, I love Mike's books. I'm sorry I can't make it. But the point is, people love your books. I love your books. Your first one was...
Thank you so much.
Your first one's like my Talmud, if I have to be honest. And here's the kicker. And this one, I guess you call the New Testament.
A lot of Jesus references.
A lot of Jesus references. I mean, even Jonathan Galkin back here, he's like, oh, Mike Sachs. He pre-ordered your book. Yeah. I don't know if you talked to him backstage.
No, I didn't.
He said he was going to bring the Amazon printout for the pre-order, have you sign it. Big fan.
That's deep. Wow.
And there's appeal in these conversations you have with the top comedy writers out there. I mean, this one, Mel Brooks, Adam McKay, Paul F. Tompkins, Bob Elliott, Mark Maron, a lot of people in here. What do you think is so appealing about comedy writers as interview subjects?
They're all very smart. You cannot be stupid and be funny.
Yeah.
That's impossible. And they know a lot about themselves. They've done a lot of thinking about themselves. And they know what you need and they give it to you.
Yeah.
They know that you need a good interview. But I try to get a lot of background stuff, like where they grew up, because that's what interests me, like where they discovered comedy, what their influences were, what their parents were like, who influenced them as kids, and then just followed their career up to the present.
What I like about this book here is the range of people that you interview from the comedy world. A little different from the first one. You've got graphic novelists, journalists, magazine writers, sitcom writers, filmmakers, literary agents, Lemony Snicket, the guy who's Lemony Snicket, Daniel Handler's in here. And then, of course, writers and performers, Amy Poehler, Terry Jones from Monty Python. Was there a conscious effort to take an all-encompassing approach this time?
Well, it was really just anyone who influenced me. I mean, some of these people are not known names. What's interesting is that a lot of big names, Steve Martin, Albert Brooks, they're not big interviews. They're not very good interviews, if you can even get them, Woody Allen. But a lot of these people in this book, I grew up influenced by. And like Bruce J. Friedman, he's written a lot of great books, very influential.
Yeah,
wrote Stern in the early 60s. So rather than going for the names that a lot of people would know, I just wanted to get really good interviews. And I wanted an excuse to talk to people that I was influenced growing up. And hopefully I did that. But I think what's important too is that one medium isn't more important than the next.
Yeah.
I grew up thinking that if you want to be a comedy writer, you have to work in a TV room. But you can write for graphic novels, you can write for syndicated cartoonists, you can write for books, you can write movies, TV, graphic novels, anything. And one is no less or more important than the next. Whatever you feel more comfortable with, whatever you feel that you can best express yourself is what you should do, whatever you're happiest doing.
And between your two books, you've seemingly conducted the most extensive survey of comedy writers ever amassed. I mean, the data you have now, covering different generations, genres, everyone has a unique story. Is it possible to draw a sweeping conclusion about comedy writers?
They're all fucked up. Well, what's interesting? Depression is known. Everyone knows comedy writers have depression. What I found out by accident was that a lot of comedy writers have OCD, because I have OCD very badly. So I knew David Sedaris has it. So I asked him about it, and I kept asking these writers, do you happen to have OCD, obsessive-compulsive disorder? And I would say 75% have it, which is really interesting because a lot have managed to use that obsessiveness into writing, into creativity, rather than wanting to lick light poles or whatever these guys do. I happen to wash my hands a lot.